Live from the Business RadioX studio inside Renaissance Bank, the bank that specializes in understanding you. It's time for North Fulton Business Radio.
And hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of North Fulton Business Radio. I'm John Ray, and folks, we are broadcasting as usual from inside Renaissance Bank in beautiful, sunny, yet hot Alpharetta. And folks, if you are tired of the mega bank experience, and if you are at one of those banks, you know what I'm talking about. They will crush you in their attempt to automate everything, and that's not the way it works at Renaissance Bank. The folks that I send to Renaissance tell me, they come back and tell me that Renaissance handles their needs in a personal way, but they have pretty much any kind of service that you want in a bank, and having that combination is a pretty cool deal. So if you are looking for that combination for your small business, go to renaissancebank.com, find one of their local offices, and give them a call. I think you'll be glad you did. Renaissance Bank, understanding you, member FDIC. Now I want to welcome my dear friend, Becky Berry. I've known Becky quite a while, and she's wonderful. And if you haven't heard from Becky, you're going to figure out she's wonderful by the time this interview's done. Becky Berry is with Becky Berry Career Coaching. Becky, welcome.
Hi, John. It's nice to be here. Hold on. Let me give my plug for the bank I use, Renaissance Bank.
Oh.
They are amazing. Just everything you said. They are so personable, so caring, even when I've had situations that were not ideal.
Yes.
And I was really comfortable calling them and talking to them about it. And that you can't say anything better than that about a bank.
That's really true. We're not going to get too far off on the Renaissance pool, but we all screw up, and that's where you figure out whether the good ones and the bad ones. And Renaissance does a great job. Yep. So thank you for saying that. Sure. So you're in the coaching world. For those folks that don't know you, give an introduction to your work. How are you serving folks out there?
I am a leadership coach for women.
Mm-hmm.
I help women either reclaim their leadership, claim their leadership, or increase their leadership. I've found that most clients who come to me are leaders, and what's missing is their personal belief in their leadership. Sometimes it can be a situational thing in the company or business they're in, the job they're in at the moment. And I've just realized over time when I've had clients come back to me and ask me for leadership coaching, that's my sweet spot.
Yeah. And I introduced you as a career coach.
Yeah.
But your coaching practice has evolved over time.
Yes, it has.
Yeah. And why do you think that is? It's because of what you've learned, but it's also because of what you hear.
I think most of it is understanding who the clients are who are coming to me.
Yeah.
I started out with moms going back to work. That wasn't my best match. Then I told you about this today and you laughed. Mm-hmm. I worked with young men for a while. And I still coach occasionally men, young men, old men. You have to want my approach.
Yeah, I was going to say, you have to have some that'll listen. I don't think young men are good at listening sometimes.
Yeah, they'll surprise you.
I used to be one of those models, I know.
I've raised one. And then I went back to more like corporate women. And all along the way, I've been coaching founders because I have been a founder. I've been a software founder. I've done a lot of stuff. So, as I've evolved, my clients have evolved. The reason I realized that leadership coaching is my thing and my highest and best offer to offer the people who come to me for coaching was when a client came back to me for the third time. We had worked together and she wanted to plan how she was going to grow her career. And we did that. And then she came back again for some tweaking. When I was in therapy, I would call it a tune-up. I would call my therapist and say, I need a tune-up. I hadn't been there a year. Need a tune-up, whatever. And so it's like that. And then she was up for a promotion that she did not get. And they told her it was because they didn't perceive her as having an executive presence. And this is a bunch of old white men in the oldest industry there is, farming. And they just didn't see her that way.
Yeah.
And her vice president and the president of the organization said, we'll get you some coaching around this. And so she came to me. And she goes, will you do this for me? So I'm like, sure. So I created a program for her. Now I'm offering that as professional development for different companies. I've got another client I've done it for since then. And as I did it, I realized, and you know this about me, and most people who know me know this about me, I have always been a leader, since I was 10, maybe 8, 9, or 10, because I'm that girl. Sure, I'll do it. I'll do it. Not necessarily bossy, but stepping forward and saying, I'll take care of this.
Raising your hand.
Yeah. You've been in the room when I've raised my hand.
Yep. Thank you for that.
I'm not sure if I'm really thanking you for that or not, because you should have said, what are you doing, Becky?
That's why I'm keeping the mics on, folks, just in case she says anything.
Why did you raise your hand? Anyway, but just things started coming to me and things started lining up. And I have a blog. I write about what I'm thinking about. And leadership is it. Leadership is what I focus on, because every client who's come to me, say for the last 5 years, and I've been doing this for 10, but almost every client, I'm trying to think of an exception, but I can't, is a leader or is an undiscovered leader. And when I say undiscovered leader, they don't realize they're a leader.
Yeah, I was going to go there because it strikes me, being familiar with your work, that what you've been doing this a long time. You may not have called it leadership coaching, but that's really what you were doing, because you were pulling that out of women that needed to see that in themselves, right? You may have called it career coaching, but there was a lot of leadership in there too.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. Leaders go for coaching. So we can start right there.
Yeah.
People, they just instinctively want to improve. It's part of being a leader is I want to grow, learn more, and learn how I can do more. And who's better to help you do that than a coach?
Right, exactly. So I connected with you on wanting to get you back over an essay you posted on LinkedIn that resonated with me, and I think would resonate with folks. If you read it, folks, I think it will resonate with you, and we'll put a link in the show notes on this. Okay. And you were talking about ally leadership. The importance of allies. Yeah. Let's give an introduction to that.
So as I was writing these programs and creating these programs, I started with creating this idea called the 7 Commitments of Female Leadership. As I'm writing it, the very first commitment is we are allies. And I went, oh, so that's like ally leadership. And then I started, as I read the rest of the things I had written, and as I sat with my thoughts, I went, oh, this is what I believe in. And this is the model for this time in our history, right? Is allies. Yeah. And John, I'm a history buff. I have a degree in history, et cetera. And my son had just gotten back from Normandy for the anniversary and the whole thing. Oh, wow. And so I went, is there any more powerful example of what allies do than the allies in World War II? Right. We were shoulder to shoulder. It wasn't something separate or some kind of serving kind of thing. We were allied with rebuilding these countries and building these economies and making this work in a way that everybody thrived. Right. And to me, a true ally, that's what they want, is they want everybody to thrive. And everybody thrives differently. Special ed teacher here, so I'm really conversant with that. So all of that has just come into this idea I have about being an ally. And allies offer people agency. Now, for people who might not really understand what agency is, I'll give you 2 examples. Please. This one really resonates with a whole lot of people. There's free agency. like in sports. And when somebody becomes a free agent, they have control over their careers now, right? They can go to another team. They have control. So that's one version. And then agency just means believing that you have control over your life, that you can have impact on your own life. But I got to tell you, what I've learned is the importance of offering someone agency and then the support to be able to access it, live it out, build it up, and then offer it to others. Allies build other leaders. Because naturally, because it's more than lifting up. That's where that shoulder-to-shoulder thing just really popped into my head. That when I'm working with a client, I am shoulder to shoulder with her. She's not like over somewhere else having to figure this out on her own. She is figuring this out on her own, but I'm right there going, yes, have you thought about this? Try this little thing, read this article, all those things, so that she can claim her agency, build her confidence in herself and in her leadership, and then naturally become she already is an ally. You don't come to me if you're not one, but naturally put that ally energy into her work life and all of her life, right? Because it's all together.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I want to contrast this idea because this helps, I think, your contrast, because you mentioned this in your essay. The contrast will help explain ally leadership. The contrast between, first of all, mentorship and ally leadership. Let's talk about that first.
Mentorship is a subset, to me, of ally leadership. When you are an ally, you're serving as an actual mentor or just a model. A mentor is more than just feeding you information, it's modeling behavior, right? I feel like mentoring is a really important subset of ally leadership that, again, when someone is attracted to your leadership and wants you to work with them, or you realize you want to work with them and you volunteer to become their mentor, which is always the best way for it to happen, always, then that just shoulder to shoulder, here we go.
Let me, can I push back on that?
Please.
Just a bit, because I guess what I may have been fishing for it.
Go for it.
Honestly, what I thought where you were going with that, and what I would probably, if I'm honest, subscribe to, that there's the problem with mentorship is that there can be a power dynamic.
Oh yeah.
That creeps into it, right?
Yeah.
That I'm the mentor, you're the mentee. And so sometimes I'm doing it to feed me as the mentor as opposed to really be a true ally.
I'm glad you said that, because when I mentor, I'm a coach. I can only mentor as an ally.
Yeah.
So that just wouldn't have occurred to me. So thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you say that, I go back through 10 years of reels of clients and yes, that can happen.
Yeah.
That can happen. And that person that does that, they are neither a mentor nor are they a leader of any sort.
Of course. Absolutely.
Because it's all about them.
Right. So how do you, as a woman leader that wants to have allies, how do you distinguish? You're seeking allies, right? How do you find someone that's a true ally?
They speak up. A true ally will always speak up. There is a book by Kim Scott. She wrote Radical Candor, and this is her second book. It's called Just Work. And she identifies upstanders and bystanders. And the way you can recognize an ally is they are upstanders. When something happens, they speak up. When you're interrupted in a meeting and they go, oh, wait a minute. Becky was saying something. Can we let's finish here and heard this. Or somebody steals your idea. All these things that happen to women every single day. Yeah, Becky said that. Let's dig into that some more. That's an ally. A bystander says something to you when you're out of the room. They're not comfortable right there in the room saying something to you. Bystander's the easiest person to turn into an ally, right? Because the upstanders are modeling that ally behavior. And when people see it works, then they have that little extra nudge or a little bit of extra bravery they need to speak up in a situation they weren't comfortable in speaking up about before.
So a contrast that you make in your essay is the difference between allies and servant leadership.
Right.
Let's get into that.
As I wrote that post, I have servant leaders in my life. I'm going to embarrass you. You're one of them. I say it to you all the time. And I had a client not long ago, like last year, who just is the model of what a servant leader is. And there's twofold problem I have with servant leadership. And the main one is the word servant. Mm-hmm. I am a daughter of the South. Mm-hmm. You say servant to me, I think enslaved people. Mm-hmm. I think indentured servitude. I think maids and all these people who are under, right? Mm-hmm. Who are, and it repels me. Mm. And as I created this, I found out I'm not the only one it repels. The other side of servant leadership that I've stumbled across and worked with, my client, who's a servant leader, he's very quiet. He's a person of color. He was modest. Being humble is great. There's way more things in the world that are more important than me, and I have no problem with that. But I don't have to be not modest. I don't have to hide myself. I don't have to work to not be offensive to somebody just because I exist or how I express myself. And so it was really the word servant, and then I dug into it some more, and it was that modesty versus humility. And I have seen people who are amazing servant leaders. I'm just like, there's no need for you to be modest about this. So that's where that came from.
Yeah, and I think that let's draw that out a little bit, because what you were talking about in your essay is that how modesty can inhibit you.
Yes.
It's okay to be humble, but modesty is a different thing.
Right.
Because it prevents your agency.
That's right. It prevents your agency. And as a woman, I was raised to be modest. No bra strap showing. Look this way. Act this way. And please don't speak up. Just explains why it all exploded as I got in my 50s and 60s. Yeah.
So, and again, back to the power dynamic. So this is where we really get into the power dynamic.
Yeah.
When we start talking about what the unfortunate connotations of servant leadership.
Right. I put this in here. I think, did I leave the part about Jesus in there?
Yeah, Jesus is in here.
All right. So I call Jesus a teacher because I'm a polyglot. I believe in all the religions. I believe in all the things because they're all the same. And he was a great teacher. And although the stories were told to us in one way, that he's the servant leader, he was offering agency to every one of these people. He was offering them the woman by the side of the road who was unclean because she was having her period. Just get up. No, just no. And she's like, all of a sudden, she has a whole different on. My son goes, Mom, think about the wine and the bread at the wedding. They were able to keep going and do their things because he convinced them they could, right? He made it happen.
Right.
And so I thought about that, and I thought about agency, because the faiths that I believe in are about agency. They are about, I can have an impact on my life, and I can have an impact on the world because of what I believe about people. And that's, people are allies, that we're better off when we're allies.
Folks, we're chatting with Becky Berry. She is with the aptly named Becky Berry Coaching. Oh, I've got one of those things too, so I get it.
Is that right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. John Ray Co. Wow. Original. It works. So you're looking to help women leaders identify allies. Does the act of being an ally help you identify allies?
Yes.
Say more about that.
Yes. We recognize our own behavior in other people, sometimes before we recognize it in ourselves. I have seen it happen where somebody's given a speech or a talk, or somebody's read a book, and the audience member or the reader goes, oh, that's what I do. Oh, excuse me, I'm actually talking about myself. This has happened to me more than once. So I was like, wait, I do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't have any language to describe it.
Yeah.
That's why the 7 commitments piece of this work I'm doing around being an ally leader is important, because it helps you identify the things you're already doing that make you an ally, right? Because these are things you're not just doing. I didn't choose that word commitment by accident.
Mm-hmm.
It's a thing we're committed to as ally leaders.
So let's get into that. Those 7 commitments.
Yeah.
Let's talk about those 7.
All right. I'll just stop me when you want me to. So the first one is we are allies. Oh, here's something you're going to love. Exercising relentless grace to those around us, always.
Mm.
Relentless grace is one of my big things.
Yes.
It's one of my big coaching things.
Yes.
Came from church, y'all. Just saying. We speak truth to power is the second one.
Mm-hmm.
That is one of the fastest way to identify an ally is if they are speaking truth to power. And just for the record, speaking truth to power is when you speak up when somebody interrupts somebody else or takes their idea or is in any other way disrespectful. Mm. We take care of ourselves and help other underrepresented and exhausted people do the same. I work with a lot of Black women. They're tired.
Yeah.
They're very tired.
Mm-hmm.
They've been carrying this on their back for a long time. As soon as I talk to them about ally leadership, they're like, oh, yeah, here we go. One of my clients read that. She just burst out laughing. Here's a big one. Number 4, we believe in our own power and leadership. We lead from where we are, wherever we find ourselves. That one came to me from my membership in the North Fulton Chamber of Commerce, and I was on the women's committee, of course, and we did a survey on leadership and sent it around to the members, right, for women and leadership and what kind of leadership training they wanted. And a lot of women said, we're happy where we are. We're not looking for C-suite. We're not looking for EVP positions. We like being managers. We want to know how to lead from where we are. So I always include that in there.
That's really good. I don't want to get off on a tangent, but that's really good because it's part of agency is allowing those that you're an ally with to craft their own goals.
That's the whole point.
Right.
Right.
It's not just okay.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Agency is about being your fullest self.
Yes.
The most true you,
Mm-hmm.
right? The most authentic you.
Yeah.
I don't let anybody steal my words, so I still use the word authentic, and I mean it. Go look it up in the dictionary.
Yeah.
This is a big one, and it's very hard. This is one of the things I work with my clients on a whole lot. Number 5, we serve as role models by being as transparent and vulnerable as possible, sharing our struggles and using our voices and power to point the way forward. That's so huge. That vulnerability is super scary, and sometimes it's not safe. Again, I work with clients of all kinds, and we figure out where it is safe, which is the most empowering thing I do for them is
help them figure out where it's safe.
Where it's safe. First, I honor that it's not safe in most places.
Mm-hmm.
For many of them, right? It's not safe. So then the next thing is to go, where is that sliver of space you have? And it's just not just Black women. This is women. Where do you feel safe just speaking up a little bit? Because it's addictive.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not shot down when you do that, or if you are, you come back to me and we work on it. And but you do it again, and then you begin to feel it. And that's when you own a different strength in your leadership, I think is what I want to say there. This, even though it's sixth, when I ask clients to write down how they know they're in an inclusive environment, it has to do with what I'm going to say right now. We recognize the unrecognized. We praise them whenever possible. We lift them up and help them stay lifted. We recognize the people that are doing the work and nobody else is seeing that they're doing the work, or, they do see it. Just don't even think they don't see it. They refuse to acknowledge it. Mm-hmm. That's our job, is to recognize them. I wrote about this again recently, and a friend suggested that I change it to, and we illuminate them. We shine a light on them. And I just haven't gotten it into here yet.
Yep.
And number 7, this is such a big deal. We elevate people, again, this is about inclusion too. We elevate people who aren't quite ready and ensure they are supported to reach their potential. There is no way to change how companies look and how companies lead unless you promote people who don't look like the other people before they're ready, because they have no way to get ready. Men are hired for potential. Women and underrepresented people are hired for what they've done. And until we flip that script by doing this, by elevating people who aren't quite ready and supporting them, that's when things really shift. And it's hard. How do I know they're going to work? How do you know those guys you're hiring are going to work? You don't. And a lot of times they don't. We could name names, couldn't we?
Yeah.
In the news.
For sure.
We could name big names. But still, it stays that way.
Right.
And so as an ally, as men are allies, there are some powerful men out there who are being major allies to everyone in this rethinking of how we want to conduct business and how businesses can be more successful and are proven more successful. The data proves that this makes a more successful business, period, end of story. McKinsey says this.
Yeah, let's dig into that because I think that's really important. This is not some good kind of thing here. Although this is about dignity and it is about recognizing people where they are in their humanity, but it's also about good business and doing something that's right for the business.
Yes.
So let's dig into what McKinsey had to say.
I don't have the numbers, but you can look it up. It's everywhere. I think it's 30% better. 20 to 30 businesses that have a diverse C-suite, and that does not mean one woman or one person of color. They do 20 to 30% better. Their profit margins are bigger. They have less turnover. They have all the things you can imagine that go along with people being treated with respect. I was in a women and tech meeting last week in Buckhead at Atlanta Tech Village, and the woman was making a presentation on how we got here. You know how we got here, Jack Welch. He decided employees weren't important and the money needed to go back to the shareholders and not reinvested in the companies. That model does not work. It does not work. Businesses are failing at record numbers. They're falling out of the S&P. It doesn't work.
It didn't work at GE because the minute he took off, it fell apart.
So this kind of underscores the alternative. And John, you and I both know, and every single person listening to this knows, I'm not describing anything really new. I'm just giving it words.
Yeah.
The best leaders are allies. The best leaders understand that you're going to promote that woman who may not have the same experience as that man, but you need a different voice in your ear.
Right.
You need a different point of view.
Right.
And this is not taking away anything from men. Y'all don't fall for that, please. You're smarter than that. That's the way you keep people down. I'm not taking anything away from you. I'm making your life better. So now you're going to thrive in a place where people will actually respect you for things that you've forgotten you even do. Y'all have no idea how much of my coaching has to do with recovering things about people who come to me, men, women, doesn't matter. If you're in this job, you get squished into this shape, and now you get blown out into this shape, and you forget who you are in there. You forget. I have a question I ask, what's your best work? What's your favorite work? And first they say it's the same. I'm like, no, it's not. You know why? Because your best work is you did this presentation once, and it was stellar. So they went, John, you're so good to do these presentations. And you forgot you hate it, but you're good at it. I am great at details. I hate it. Consistent. We were talking about this one. Consistency, that's not like my word. I'm like ideas and all that stuff. But when people are more balanced, when the work is more balanced and the leadership is more balanced, everybody benefits. The stress goes down on every person. And you get to breathe. I want to tell this story about allies. My husband was a very high-level salesperson, so high level that other companies taught their salesmen how to sell against him, and it didn't work. But anyway, it didn't. You couldn't beat him in a sale. But one thing he would not do was leave a meeting at 5 o'clock to come to his son's band concert or whatever. Mm-hmm. And man, John knows me. Phew, I let him have it for years. Mm-hmm. Finally, one day he did it. I said, just do it. 5 other guys will step up and do the same thing. He did it. He goes, I got to leave right now. Got to get to this concert. This guy goes, I need to be at a basketball practice. I need to be here. I need to be there. You got to step up. When you take that risk, you take, and listen, it is scary. Sometimes it's dangerous. That's what a coach is for. Mm-hmm. But when you take that risk and you stand up for yourself, your family, that is the ultimate allyship. Mm. If you're not an ally to your own family, what are you even doing? So I tell that all the time. I told that to the client who spoke up in the meeting and told her that she wasn't through talking. Oh, that's my success story. I'm going to say that.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. I'm going to get
that's one of mine.
We're coming to that right now. Before we get to the success story though, I want to talk at a practical level. Women that are listening to this interview, how do I know that I'm the right fit for Becky? How do I know that I need to pick up the phone and call Becky and engage your services, your ear?
First thing you do is you go, look, this is what I say when people like email me or leave a message for a meeting with me. I say, have you looked at my website and my LinkedIn? Because I'm going to be honest with you, the first 2 words on my LinkedIn headline are progressive feminist. And if that turns you off, good. I'm not saying that's bad that you're not like that I'm a progressive feminist. Right. Part of how we market ourselves is to automatically have people self-select out of calling us, right? So if you
select into,
preferably whatever.
Either one.
Whatever fits.
Right.
So I start from there.
Okay.
Right? I'm about allyship. But I work differently from some people. I work really deep. I go really deep. I say that working with me is not for the faint of heart. And about the second meeting or the third meeting, my clients are like, you weren't kidding. I was like, no. I said, so how are you liking it? They're like, oh, this is fun. I was like, okay, there you go, because I can do both. But we really dig deep. And if you're feeling like I could be a leader, I could be a leader, that's when you call me, because I know how to uncover that with you. I am not telling you anything. This is an organic process. And all of a sudden you go, oh, and it's happened more than once. Oh, I am a leader. I'm like, yeah, you are. So how are we going to go? How are we going to build it? If you have that idea, my mission statement is that I exist to help people reach the potential they're afraid to admit that they have. So if you are touching that idea of being a leader like it's a hot stove, that's when you call me. And you just feel like something, and you want to tweak it, you want to move it higher, call me. And the main thing is, if you're invested in having leadership, your leadership be grounded 100% in who you are, that's what I do. That's what I do.
So, Becky, let's get to that success story that you brought us to the edge on. Let's dig into it, because it's a good one.
I always do that, and I always like mess around the edges.
No.
I have a client who came to me who's been a client before. I think I'd already told this story. Did I tell this twice? Too bad. You're getting it again as my success story.
Not in this show, you didn't.
Okay. Maybe it was just talking to you before. And she came to me for coaching 2018, I think. I looked it up the other day. And I'd been coaching in 4 years at that time. And we did coaching. She wanted to level up her work. We did the coaching. And then she came back to me a couple of years later for some more coaching, to continue to level it up, to just tweak some things. Did she want to look for another job? No, she did not. That's what the conclusion we came to after looking at a lot of stuff. And then this year, we just finished this up. This year, she was up for a promotion. She didn't get it. It was a very nice promotion too. And it was because they didn't think she had executive presence. They saw she had the skill set. Hello, this is the potential versus what you've done thing, male versus female. And she came to me and I was like, okay, I can do this. So I created a leadership program for her. And she was already the head of their DEI committee, really invested in being an ally with the women and the other people that she worked with in her company. So we worked on her presentation skills. We worked on connecting with people because she's an introvert and she looks a lot younger than she is. And sometimes she's not comfortable making eye contact, or there are a lot of people around or whatever. We worked on that. I brought 2 panels in for her to present to, and we got their feedback, and we used their feedback. And then I was talking to her, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, and she said that she'd really done it. I said, what did you do? So she was in a meeting, I think with their marketing company too, or something like that, their digital marketing agency or something. And somebody interrupted her while she was speaking. And she goes, excuse me, I'm not through. I'll finish, and can we come back to you? She did this to her boss. And can I just tell you, I had little tears trickling down my face because that was a moment. That is a moment in my life when this woman did this. And I had to point out to her, she was like super nervous about having done it. I said, you did her a favor. Now, I do want you to go thank her for handling it well, but also that will reinforce for her that you're not the only person she needs to do this for. She doesn't need to be interrupting, but you don't have to tell her that because you already did it.
Yeah.
And that was a big moment. And now I'm looking at doing a leadership workshop for the whole company. Yeah, so that's, I think she might be in that job for another year, but I think we took the lid off the bottle and the genie's going to pop up. And she's going to do something major. She's ready.
Yeah, she's ready to sprout further,
I
right?
think so.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
I love my job.
Yeah, with good reason. Thank you for your great work.
Thanks.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Absolutely. So for folks that want to take advantage of that great work, that would like to be in touch with you, learn more, have a conversation, how can they do that?
You can find me anywhere at Becky Berry Coach, except X. I'm not on X. My website is beckyberrycoach.com. My blog is on that website, and like John said, we'll put a link to that in the show notes, to that blog post.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
and yeah.
that'll take you right to my blog. Mm-hmm. And then my phone number is 404-480-0849. I'm going to say it again, 404-480-0849. So please feel free to reach out to me. Oh, and my email is becky@beckyberrycoach.com. I'm consistent. That's one place I'm consistent.
Becky Berry, leadership coach and terrific woman. Thank you so much for your work. You do great work.
Thanks, John.
It's just always a delight to have you.
I appreciate it.
And I always come away from having you on thinking, why hadn't I had her on before now? Even though I've had you on several times.
Right. I've been on once or twice.
Thank you again.
Yeah. Thanks, John.
Absolutely. Hey, folks, just a couple of quick things for you. If you are looking for an Italian restaurant that was farm to table before that was cool, check out Casa Nova. Is right here in the Alpharetta area. They're just north of McFarland on Highway 9. And they've had a garden behind their restaurant for years and years. And they bring those fresh herbs, tomatoes, corn, peppers, zucchini, what have you, into their kitchen and prepare their meals, cook to order using those ingredients. And it's fabulous. And it's fabulous. This is not just my opinion. It's everyone that goes there believes this. So check them out at CasaNovaRestaurant.com. You can also check out their catering, by the way. We've had them do catering work for us, and they're just fantastic. So Maria and her team are wonderful, and they treat you like family when you come in. That's probably the best thing right there. It's just you feel great once you walk out of there. So CasaNovaRestaurant.com. Also, I have a book out. It's called The Generosity Mindset, A Journey to Business Success by Raising Your Confidence, Value, and Prices. If you are a solo, small firm, small professional services firm, you've got issues with understanding your value as a service provider, your positioning, your business development, if you've got some mindsets that are holding you back, this book may be for you.
It's a great book. you knew I was going to do this.
Thank you.
I know you wouldn't want it. I learned so much from this book, and I've been in this business for 10 years now. I give it to clients who are starting their own businesses. That is how good this book is.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Becky, very much. Go to thegenerositymindset.com to learn more and to find out where to buy the book. Or it's really basically where all fine books are sold. And also, I just want to thank you, those of you that are listening to this and those of you that didn't quite make it on this show. We've been supported over the years so well, and I'm just so grateful for that. We're coming up on show number 800 for North Fulton Business Radio, and we've only come this far because of you and your continued support of the work that we do. We're here to showcase business leaders like Becky and the great work they do, and of course community leaders that do great work in the nonprofit world, and you've supported us in that work, and we're grateful. Thank you. As we continue to live into our mission to be the voice of business in North Fulton, we're looking forward to show number 1,000. Given the grace to do it, that's where we're going to end up. But we won't end there. We're going to go as far as we can. But thank you for allowing us and supporting us as we continue on this journey. I'm grateful to you. So for my guest, Becky Berry, I'm John Ray. Join us next time here on North Fulton Business Radio.